It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff's here. Paris is here. I'm back from vacation. We'll talk about Mark Zuckerberg's announcements at the Meta Connect keynote this morning and compare and contrast it to Sam Altman's a little bit weird AI manifesto. Then we'll find out why Cards Against Humanity is suing Elon Musk. All that and more coming up on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 787, recorded Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. We here for you. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show where we cover not just Google, but the internet. We cover, ladies and gentlemen, the web we weave.
Ooh,
and that is the book from Mr. Jeff Jarvis, Professor Jeff Jarvis. He is the Town Knight Professor of Journalistic Innovation, Emeritus, Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. But do you have anything else to announce yet?
Nope, not yet. Soon.
Okay. So we're going to keep giving you that old title. Good to see you, Jeff. Missed you guys so much. Paris Martineau is also here. She's back from Croatia. She reports on youth issues at the Information for the weekend, which is the best part of the Information, I think.
We never shared our pictures of the three of us, did we?
I have them right here if you want to see them. Let me pull them up. So on the way out of town, I stopped by New York City, and we had a little meetup, Paris, Jeff, and I, at
a place with a name that we cannot.
Jose Andres restaurant in New York City. It's a great Greek restaurant, actually. It's perfect for your
Leo
Croatia
wore
trip.
a shirt with a lot of avocados on it that all the ladies loved.
They did. And I said, do you have avocados at this restaurant? And they said, now we do. No.
I posted it in the Discord.
I have it on the screen. Do you not see it, Benito?
I need to switch.
You need to switch?
You need to switch.
I need to switch?
The power is in your hands, Leo.
I did switch. You don't. What do you see now?
I see the web we weave.
Oh, I need to switch to this.
It's there we are.
There we are.
There's three of them. I don't know which one's best. But Paris, we had to get Paris to do the selfie because only she's young enough to know how to press the button and take a picture.
You got to do the AI thing that picks the best one of each of you and see what it looks like.
Oh, I could do that
Changes
in the
our
Google.
heads.
In the Google. I like that one. That's cute.
Yeah.
It was really fun to see the two of you have lunch. I'd never met Paris in person before.
It's crazy that we had never met in person, given all the hours we've spent talking to each other.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then you went off to Croatia. I know you've been back since then, but you had a good time.
I had a lovely time. It was super fun.
And
a
your
lot of good
parents
food.
became famous in Peru while we were gone.
They did, inexplicably. My dad was caught in a TikTok video by a bunch of Peruvian bystanders who believe that he was a celebrity, and he really decided to eat it up. And I love him for that.
They weren't fully wrong. I mean, after all, your parents were dressed in dinnerwear.
They were ready for a, wedding.
They had
That's
security in shades around them. Look at these guys in the shades. I mean, I would have assumed he was famous too.
Oh yeah.
And that's your mom in the beautiful.
That's my mom who's like, come on, let's go.
So the first is she's smiling the first time. By the fifth time, she's had it.
She's tapping him on the shoulder by the time we get here. See,
right there, right now. Now she's pissed.
This is how fame happens. This is how fame happens. Just that simple. Wow.
I love how he is in comparison to every person.
But he does look famous. He's wearing a tux. He's got guys in sunglasses and earpieces around him, ushering him off.
So funny.
I thought he was famous.
Oh, that's beautiful.
He is famous to me.
Yeah. That's a really great. That's a nice event. Speaking of fame, my son, Mr. Salt Hank, is going to be on the Today Show tomorrow with Hoda and Jenna, or whatever. Hoda, right? That's her name. Hoda, 10 o'clock a.m. on the Today Show.
Is he going to make anything with them?
Yeah, he's cooking. I'm not sure what. I told him make pickles because he and I are in a pickle venture.
Plug the family business.
It's called the Salt Lovers Club. This podcast thing's never going to take off, so I have to get in the pickle business.
I saw organically some Salt Hank content come across my Twitter feed the other day. Someone just posted making Salt Hank meatball parms for my beautiful friends.
There you go.
And I was like, wow.
My son, the Sandwich King.
Wow.
His new cookbook comes out in about 10 days. It's called Salt Hank, a 5-napkin situation. You can order it on Amazon or wherever you get your books. It is a beautiful cookbook, by the way. It's funny because, Jeff, I have a copy of The Web We Weave, also available in bookstores everywhere. But I don't have a copy of Salt Hank's cookbook.
Your own son, you're not blurbing. Jeez.
I'm not blurbing on my own son.
Did anybody blurb him? Did they do blurbs in a cookbook?
Oh, yeah. Big names blurbed him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Gordon Ramsay.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He's got friends in high places, as they say.
Like, how many pictures are in it? Is that
it's all pictures. It really isn't a cookbook. It's a picture book.
So that's expensive to produce.
Oh, it's Simon & Schuster, baby. They spent a lot of money. He's doing a book tour.
Wow.
They book tours went away when I was a young.
Oh, yeah.
But they're doing it with him. So keep your eye peeled for Mr. Hank. All right, let's talk news. Google news. Google's getting sued in the EU. Or is it Google suing? I think it's Google suing Microsoft in the EU, claiming they have a monopoly. All right. Microsoft charges egress fees if you want to leave Azure. And Google used to charge egress fees and then decided not to charge egress fees. And now they're really upset. So they got the EU to go after Microsoft for charging egress fees.
Egress from what?
Well, if, for instance, I were to charge you, Jeff, to no longer be on this podcast, that would be an egress fee. And it wouldn't be right. But you know who does do that? A lot of people do that. If you want to get your data out of the cloud, often it costs you money to get your data out of the cloud. So let's see. I thought we should do some Google news. But now back to Stanley Tumblers.
After that, long foray into hard, serious news coverage.
Do you have a pink Stanley tumbler, Paris?
No, I'm an Awala girl myself.
Ah, look at that. You're not with it. Apparently, Stanley's pink tumbler was all the rage. And now that Barbie is celebrating its 65th anniversary, Stanley every day, oh, you missed it last week. Shoot. See, this is why you can't go on vacation.
Yeah, you miss important stuff like this.
Was selling Stanley quenchers to honor different Barbies on the 16th. Quenchers? You like them?
I don't know. I just think quenchers is a very funny name for a product.
To quench your thirst. Here's the actual Barbie with a quencher, all her own.
Wow, women can have it all.
Look at that. You can. Oh, look, and a cowboy. And a cowboy can have it all too.
Okay, I think they're so silly. They're too large.
They're gigantic.
Yeah, they are.
And they look dopey because they have this little tiny hole at the bottom for putting in your cup holder. I think that's dopey.
Yeah, I don't like that. Do you guys have Stanleys?
No,
I have a off-brand something I got at Dick's. Oh, it's an Awala.
That's an Awala. It's the cool one.
We both have the same thing.
I like it because it's got a straw in it.
It does.
But it doesn't look like it has a straw.
It looks like just a wide mouth frog. But if you unscrew it, you'll see the hidden straw inside. And it holds like 800 gallons of water.
I have a tinier one for New York City bags, but it's quite good.
Okay. Here's our Barbie segment. We're moving fast. EssilorLuxottica. Did you watch the Meta thing this morning?
No.
We streamed it. I was curious.
Are you buying those glasses?
I have the Meta Ray-Bans.
So they didn't announce. They just teased.
They're going to continue their partnership, and they are going to add new features, including a real-time translation.
Yeah, how many times have we been told that?
I know.
That someone's going to add that. But I'll believe it when I see it.
To Meta's credit, Mark Zuckerberg was live on stage and did actually do a real translation with them, with a Mexican UFC fighter he spoke in Spanish, Mark spoke in English, and they had a conversation. It was a weird conversation because you say your thing. Hello, I'm very pleased to meet you. How's the knee? And then he has to stand there and wait while it goes, hola. And then he says his thing, and then you have to stand there awkwardly and wait. It's not that much fun.
I've done events with simultaneous translation.
It's like that, right?
And then I've done events with not simultaneous, where you have to wait in the event.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that. What was Mark wearing? That's what we all want to know now.
He was wearing a black t-shirt and black pants, despite the fact that Mark looked like he'd been spending some time in the gymnasium. It was a loose-fitting black t-shirt, so he
wore a shirt that said "Ot Zuck Ot Neil," which
what is that?
People assumed was a joke referring to the phrase "Ot Caesar Ot Neil," which means, I think in Latin, either Caesar or nothing. So it would say either Zuck or nothing.
You know what?
I was joking that he should get a shirt that says Zuck Tua. But
et tue Zuck.
That's also good.
Yeah. Et tu Zuck. Zuck has used Latin before. He likes Latin jokes. Showing off his Harvard education, I guess.
Well, a quarter thereof.
Yeah, but he didn't even have a whole year, did he?
No. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. A sophomore year, I think. Okay. Did he have the gold chain? Did he have the fancy hair? I got to hear this stuff.
He had very curly mop of hair. Mm-hmm. I give him a lot. Okay, here's what my takeaway from this event was. We wanted to watch because I was curious what they were going to do with VR. And he said, we got this thing. It's not ready by any means, but this is what we're working on. It's 100 grams, doesn't need a battery pack, has a little puck to drive it, but it doesn't need any additional stuff. It does augmented reality. It does a lot of stuff. He showed people wearing it. He said there's only 3 in existence. He showed people wearing it, but it was like, this is way down the road. But it was, I was there to see that and to see what he's going to do with Llama, their AI. But the thing that I came away with, and you've written about Facebook. You've been inside. Is he didn't mention Facebook at all?
Wow.
This is Meta Connect. It's their developer conference. Mm-hmm. But everything Meta does is driven by the revenue from Facebook and Instagram. One brief mention of Instagram, because you'll be able to use AI on Instagram. No mentions at all about Facebook, and I think
it's not telling. Like I/O. How much is search as search mentioned in I/O?
Well, that's a good point. I feel like, though, this is Meta successfully pivoting away from their...
Yeah, I think you're right.
Their troubled core business. And I think troubled because people are very privacy focused, but also because nobody under the age of 40 uses Meta anymore, right? It's not...
uses Facebook.
I mean, Facebook.
I think that part of the issue... Yeah, is that nobody really uses the core Facebook app, right. Or at least young people are not using it. And my prediction is that Instagram will eventually go the same way. And you can see it based on the way that Instagram is starting to resemble the Facebook app. It's bloated with features. Every time I open it, I get a new pop-up telling me to do something with AI or try this feature or click over here. It is feeling more and more like the Facebook menus of yore, which is, I don't know, kind of sad because the app used to be very much against visual clutter back in its heyday.
Yeah. It is a shame. I liked Instagram. I think that they suffered severely from TikTok envy as well, right? And became TikTok, as Twitter is
and too. A million other things.
Yeah. And yeah. But but I think what Mark has basically implied, they talked about Horizons and showed off Horizons, their social operating system that you do in VR. And I think that he is, despite what we might have thought, he is still all in on VR and virtual environments.
Well, it's hard not to be when you've spent as many tens of hundreds of millions, billions as he has.
But I think Meta, my argument is constantly that I think Meta AI is the sleeper here. I think Llama is good. The fact that it's open and free and open source, or freely available, call it that. He's a spoiler, and I think that's going to be important. Jan LeCun
they talked a lot about
AI guy.
Yeah, they talked a lot about Llama. He didn't use. It was interesting. He didn't use the phrase which I kind of faulted him for, of open. This being the open source AI. I don't think he said open source at all.
Well, that also has cooties now because people are fearing that that's how bad guys will use it. So you want to call it something else. It's open availability or whatever they call it.
He did claim, I don't know if there's a way of justifying this, but he claimed it was the most used AI today.
It's free.
Because it's free.
But so is Gemini.
Yeah, but it's on. But I mean, I have Llama on computers and stuff because you can download it and you can use the models free locally. I mean, I don't know if it's true. He said it.
I wonder where that's coming from. I wonder if that's weasel words somehow related.
There was
to the
a
fact
weasel
that,
word.
You know,
I think he said
Meta's AI is embedded in Instagram search. So is it technically doing an AI powered search when I type in Leo Laporte's Instagram handle? Maybe.
He does claim there'll be a lot more AI in Instagram. Stephen is asking in our Twitch stream, what's Llama? We shouldn't assume everybody knows what Llama is. Llama is Meta's large language model, their AI, comparable to what Apple Intelligence is, or Google's Gemini, or what else? Anthropic, OpenAI's ChatGPT. Llama's the Meta version of that, and very similar. It's an LLM. It's very similar. Get it? LLM. Anyway, the most interesting thing to me was that how honestly I felt like Mark was very authentic. I
think
credible.
He's also, you know, I'm done with politics.
It's a real
unapologizing.
Yeah.
I'm me now.
Yeah.
And to hell with all of you. I'm rich. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's that. So he's really he gives no F's. Right.
And while Apple is, you know, highly polished, pre-produced product releases, this was very much down to earth. He's talking to developers as a developer. I kind of liked it. It was refreshing.
It's a new
Zuck.
You have not liked him for a long time.
No, I think he's I thought this was his rehabilitation.
He spent a lot of money rehabbing his public persona, and it's through things like these outfits he's wearing, the photos and videos you've seen of him doing dorky stuff like being on that sun foil or grilling meats. This has all been part of a carefully orchestrated attempt to rehab his image. And folks at the New York Times, including Mike Isaac, have reported, I believe, quite a bit on this. And it seems to be working. People like you are suddenly pro Zuck again.
Enamored of him.
Oh, I'm not enamored of him.
Did you take a walk on the beach with Zuck?
No. I feel like. Well, does he deserve a second chance?
I think so. Paris?
Yeah. I mean, I don't look.
Paris is silent. She's getting thin.
Paris disagrees.
On the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like a second chance for what?
Because, well, for so long we've kind of made fun of him,
What has
mocked
changed
him.
about him? He's still a billionaire tech CEO in charge of a product that is highly controversial, beholden to shareholders in ways that often put its interests perhaps not always in alignment with those of its users.
But he's 100 times better than Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Okay,
The
but comparing him to the worst guys, anybody.
The worst guys are the guys on top.
He ain't the worst guy by a long shot now. That's the point. People were trying to paint him as the worst guy. No. There's far worse than Zuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Zuck was also involved in some pretty terrible stuff like Myanmar and things.
Yeah, and so in fact, somebody in our by the way, that's Benito Gonzalez, our technical producer and actually full producer and technical. What do you call it? Technical director. Switch pusher. He's the guy who's switching the show. As somebody did say in one of the streams during the Meta Connect thing, is as long as you forget the genocide in Myanmar. Do you think Facebook has moved past that? I think they've tried.
They're really trying to move past it.
They just canceled RT, right? They pushed RT off of Meta, off Facebook.
Well, but again, I think it's a very important moment when he said, "I'm done with politics. I'm not doing politics. I'm done apologizing." He's been saying that last few weeks, and he's basically just saying, "Take me as I am. This is what we do. This is what I care about. I have the resources to do what I want." And I think that he's probably wishing he'd done that long ago.
He also, at the end, he stated the company values, and
that's kind of new.
Yeah, I really feel like I want to give him credit. Maybe it is all a PR plan and all of that stuff. And certainly, there's been things that Facebook's done that are appalling. The thing he's doing in Hawaii ain't so great, buying up the ancestral lands secretly and to build his giant, I don't know what, hidey hole. But I think he is trying hard to be, they once again, let me see if I can find the statement of values, because I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, and the fact that he even talked about values was... Is
this move fast, we build and learn faster than anyone else?
No, that's the thing. He kind of dumped that whole move fast and break things.
That's still a culture at Meta that's still up. So I guess he's got to...
Yeah, but maybe he needs to fix
update the website.
Let me see if there's a lot of coverage of this, mostly of his shirt. That's the problem with doing something like that, right? You get a lot of attention for your shirt and not what you're saying.
That's probably what he wanted also.
Is it? I don't know. I think maybe I'm misreading him, but I genuinely felt like one of the things he wanted to emphasize is, look, we're making a product that's better, and he said it, better than Apple's Vision Pro at 1/10 of the cost. We're bringing VR to people. We believe connection is important to people. I think he's always believed that. We've decided to offer this even less expensive Quest 3S, which is the same price as the original Quest 2, $299.99. They're adding features to the Ray-Ban glasses. And he said, I wish I could get the exact quote at the end.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can find...
Scrub through the video?
Yeah, I could find the event. We unfortunately decided not to, as we usually do when we cover these kinds of things, not to stream their video, but just to stream Micah and me talking about their video, asking people to watch it in hindsight.
Yeah, because they've been trying to take you guys down for covering
Apple
these
has,
sort of things, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a PR event, for Christ's sakes.
Like, what?
Well, it's also fair use. I mean, we're doing news commentary on a newsworthy story. Yeah. Now, to be fair, Facebook's not said anything. But we've had such trouble with Twitch and YouTube. I don't want to get banned forever, and that's the threat both Twitch and YouTube offer. So I don't want to do that. Let me see if I can find. Here it is. Mark's vision. We'll go ahead to the. No. This is after Mark left. A lot of people pretending to be. I do like this. Let me see if I could. He's talking about some of the things you can do.
And sensors that we designed and powered by.
This is the Orion glasses that they're building.
Baggy top.
Era of mixed reality generation platform. Going to have what looks like normal looking glasses. You're looking at the culmination of decades.
Is this a cut down? Oh, it is. That's the problem. This is a 5-minute.
Oh.
I don't want to cut down.
Screw the mission.
No, that's the full. That's the full.
Is it? Let me play it again then. See. I guess it is. They wouldn't be having a countdown at the beginning of a cut down. It's God. We cut away a lot earlier, didn't we? He did exactly an hour. So let me go into
4 hours. glasses?
There he is, by the way. Don't you think he's cute?
Speaking of AI and glasses,
oh, there was open source AI. It was on the wall. I missed that. No.
keep working on the
For
the future, and like I'm sitting on your couch next to you as a hologram, and we're just
the
manufacturing.
They're calling these holograms, by the way.
Great, another misused sci-fi term.
Yeah.
So we are going to use.
I assume we just have a list of sci-fi terms kicking around, and they throw a dart at one every year, and they're like, "Which one are we going to do today?"
That we need to, but we're also going to work with a handful of partners externally to make sure that we.
I don't know if I can find his values statement.
I'll look for it.
For the future, and like
I don't remember that part.
generation of technology, there is competition of ideas for what the future should look like. And at Meta,
This is
we're
it.
trying to build a future that is more open, more accessible, more natural, and more about human connection. This is the continuation of the values and ideas that we have brought to the apps and technology
Open,
that we have built
accessible,
for Meta's first 20 years.
Natural.
natural.
And I think
Human
that
connection.
well, then collectively, us at Meta and all of you here today have the ability to shape both the industry and the world in even more positive and bigger ways in the next generation of computing.
Except that his damn shirt says Zuck or nothing. I would buy it except for that. You know, Zuck, maybe consider your choices. And
By saying,
hold on.
It's,
grateful for all of you who are building with us. Thank you for being on this journey with us.
kind of a Jack Dorsey.
And I hope you enjoy
fashion
the rest
thing
of it.
there.
It is kind of a up yours, but I was pretty much impressed by
It's a
that
big
vision, weren't you? I mean, it seemed. Of course, now we're going to take a break, and this is going to take us to Sam Altman's piece about AI. And there's two me's on this, and I bet there is on you too. One where I want to believe and say, yeah, you're right. This is great. This is a new world we're entering where we could be connected. We could be positive. And yeah, that's just a PR ploy to make yourself a billionaire or more money, you know?
But the difference is that Altman, and we'll talk about this when you get to Altman, but I think he's a doomer, and he's presenting this, I'm going to be in charge of the whole world. Zuck is saying, I'm not going to be in charge of the whole world. This is what we're going to do. And use it, don't use it. This is where we are. I think that's a huge difference. I think.
So you're kind of more in my camp that this
I
is
am.
a reformed new Zuck. Well, we'll talk
Altman
about that.
scares me some.
And yeah, we will. Let's talk about this Sam Altman piece, which I think we probably could read in its entirety because it's not very long.
There's also a great TechCrunch analysis of it, of what's believable and what's hype.
Okay.
Really well done. That's a good way to
Okay.
go through it.
We'll get to that in just a second. You're watching This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau, brought to you today by Bitwarden. Hey, there they are. I like that. Do that again. That was good. Whoa. Wasn't there a meme where there was a hamster who was scared?
Like a meerkat or something?
Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. Our show today brought to you by Bitwarden, the password manager offering a cost-effective solution that could dramatically improve your chances of staying safe online. Everyone knows you need a password manager. I recommend Bitwarden. It's open source. I love that because they're open source. Had a lot of contributions from community that have made it better and better and better. They're always adding to it. And because it's open source, it's free forever for individuals. Plus, as an individual, you can even host your own vault if you don't want to have them host it for you. I let them host it because I think they're going to do a better job than I would. It's just the way a password manager should be. They've just announced the 5th annual Open Source Security Summit. It's coming up, starts tomorrow, September 26th. This year's headline speakers include security analyst Karen Elazari, journalist author Kim Zetter, love Kim, NFL CISO, oh, this should be interesting, Thomas Maldonado. It's free. You can register right now and attend virtually, bitwarden.com/open-source-security-summit. bitwarden.com/open-source-security-summit. A great time to learn about the future of open source security solutions, especially as the holidays approach. This is when the bad guys go crazy because everybody's going online to do shopping. You need security right now. You need Bitwarden. Bitwarden has announced they're expanding their inline autofill capabilities with the Bitwarden browser extension. It includes cards and identities. It is the simplest, easiest way to fill in forms securely. I love it. And this enhancement benefits all users. It means you got a more secure interaction with web forms because you can't be phished. If the form isn't legit, Bitwarden won't fill it in. That includes payment details, contact info, addresses, and more. It's a great tool to fight phishing. Bitwarden empowers enterprises, developers, and individuals to safely store and share sensitive data. With a transparent, open source approach to password management, Bitwarden makes it easy for users to extend robust security practices to all their online experiences. You need Bitwarden. In enterprise, you can get started with Bitwarden's free trial of a Teams or enterprise plan. As an individual, get started free forever across all devices, unlimited passwords, passkeys too, at bitwarden.com/twit. We love Bitwarden. I'm a happy Bitwarden user. So is Steve Gibson. You ought to try this for your home and for your office. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank Bitwarden so much for their support of This Week in Google. Do you want to start with the TechCrunch exegesis?
Or line 85.
Line 85. All right.
So what Sarah Perez cuts it into slices. And
she says judges. He catapults past founder mode into God mode.
which is really true.
With his latest post. First of all, why did Sam Altman write this and post it?
He's raising $8 billion on a $150 billion valuation.
Well, that would explain
raising hundreds of billions of dollars for his worldwide flowing AI thing. That's why he's doing it.
So
we're in a generation now also where the top CEOs of these tech companies are all posters. They've all got poster brain. And this is Sam Altman's post.
Did Mark Andreessen start this, Jeff? I mean, he certainly was one of the people who wrote these. They're practically manifestos. But I have to say, as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, I don't disagree. Sam writes, in the next couple of decades, we'll be able to do things that have seemed like magic to our grandparents. I saw one snarky comment that, just taking that from, was it Isaac Asimov's statement that any sufficiently advanced technology appears to be magic. Okay, but it's true.
My grandmother probably didn't know what the internet was before she died a couple of years ago. I don't think the internet would be magic to her.
What we're doing right now would seem magic.
Oh, yeah.
To people 100 years ago. You are in New York City, Jeff's in New Jersey, I'm in California, and we're sitting together talking about something and broadcasting.
Not one of us can actually explain how this all works.
And we don't know how it works.
And I have no interest in figuring it out.
Ignorance is magic.
So I think Sam's absolutely right. We already are, and in the next few decades, we'll be able to continue to do things that would seem like magic. This phenomenon is not new, he says, but it will be newly accelerated. This is the thing that is certainly what people like Sam Altman, the CEO and founder of OpenAI, have been pushing with AI. People have become dramatically more capable. People have become dramatically more capable over time. We can already accomplish things now that our predecessors would have believed to be impossible. We're more capable, and this to me was the paragraph I really thought was interesting, not because of genetic change, but because we benefit from the infrastructure of society being way smarter and way more capable than any one of us. And this speaks to what you were saying, Benito. We don't need to know how a television set works or a car or a jet airplane works. We benefit because of the infrastructure society provides us.
Same with a steam engine.
Yes. Same with a zipper.
Steam engine isn't smarter than a person. It is better at a specific task.
Same here.
I do. Well, okay. So.
And it is created by a person.
That might be the thing that has changed over the last 100 years. I think some of the things we're seeing, it's not inappropriate to call them, the infrastructure of society is smarter and more capable. He says, in an important sense, society itself is a form of advanced intelligence.
That's David Weinberger's argument that the room is smarter than anyone in it. The internet.
I think that's true.
I think that's true, but I think that's been true of society for a long time. Print led us there, but don't get me started on Gutenberg.
Language led us there.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yes, of course. None of
The
this happened.
tribe is
None of
better
this
at
happened
hunting
last
the
night.
elk than one guy.
Yes, this has been the
This
process
is the hubris
human-
of the present tense.
But I think that part of what we're about to get to in this is the folly, I think, of this mindset is centering the technology rather than centering the creators of the technology and the users of the technology. The next paragraph says it won't happen all at once.
Wait. Stop.
Okay.
I haven't finished this paragraph. Our grandparents and the generations that came before them, I'll let you do the next one. Our grandparents and the generations that came before them built and achieved great things. So they're saying exactly what you guys are saying. They contributed to the scaffolding of human progress that we all benefit from. AI, now this is where we start to make this transition. AI will give people tools to solve hard problems and help us add new struts to that scaffolding that we couldn't have figured out on our own. This is the first statement in the whole thing that you might say, whoa, hold on, really?
Yeah, and you have folded proteins and new molecules, and
the story of progress will continue, he says, and our children will be able to do things we can't. Right.
Ever thus.
Okay, ever thus. Go ahead,
It won't happen all at once, but we'll soon be able to work with AI that helps us accomplish much more than we could without AI. All right. Eventually, and then we get into what I would consider a bit of crazy town. Eventually, we can each have a personal AI team full of virtual experts in different areas, working together to create almost anything we can imagine. Our children will have virtual tutors who can provide personal instruction in any subject, in any language, and at whatever pace they need. We can imagine similar ideas for better healthcare, the ability to create any kind of software someone can imagine, and much more. There's a lot of hand waving going on there. And I also just don't think that those are going to be as realistic and as easy as this paragraph implies. And that's kind of the core complaint a lot of, I guess, AI complainers have about this sort of guy.
Well, is a personal AI team.
And also, I've been talking.
I think you also, though, if you want to reach the future, you have to have a vision for the future that isn't yet here. Is that not a reasonable thing to aim at?
Not necessarily. I'm going to do it again because it comes to my mind. But Gutenberg he was a man of the scribes age. He was not a man of the print age. Oftentimes, when you create these new technologies, you don't know how they will be used. You don't have a vision for them. You create a possibility that others see. It took a century and a half after Gutenberg before anyone thought to invent the modern novel or the essay or the newspaper.
Newton said, if I have seen farther than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. Everybody does that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the correct vision, but you do need to be inspired to be doing something. Gutenberg may not be the best example. Maybe Edison would be a better example, or Tesla. Or
I could go through lots of things where Edison thought that newspapers were going to be delivered on audio rolls. Right?
Yes, that's fine. He doesn't have to be
Edison
right.
Thought the typewriter was ridiculous. Edison wasn't right about a lot of it, but he created tremendous opportunity.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to be right.
He didn't have the vision.
Sam have to be
he
right.
had the technology. And then what happens is, inevitably, the technology and the technologists become boring and fade into the background. And that's when it gets interesting. That's when people create things that the creators didn't imagine.
I agree. And I think that part of what we're bumping up against here with trying to parse documents and statements like this from someone like Sam Altman is he is raising billions of dollars based on this sort of hype. And he's getting that money versus other people who have ideas and thoughts about the future. And I think that it requires us to take a critical lens to his ideas, his approach to it. He is not just some guy with a dream. He is a guy who documents like this are getting him all of the money in the world for this sort of research and work, and all of the power to do whatever he wants with it. So I do think that inherently means he should be open to criticism of the highest order.
And we need to, it's our job to mark the hype. That's what I liked about the TechCrunch thing, is that it figured out the hype where it was. If you go to that paragraph, Paris, I think being able, virtual tutors, personalized instruction. Yeah. In any subject, maybe not. In any language, yeah, we know that. At whatever pace they need, yeah, right. So it's a mixed bag, but you get that phrase like full of an AI team full of virtual experts in different areas. It's means.
Well, so part of the reason this discussion, I brought this up, is because I want to compare and contrast to the vision Mark Zuckerberg proposed earlier, right? Maybe Sam is a little self-aggrandizing compared to what Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah.
We'll keep going. It goes more.
Okay. With these new abilities, we can have shared prosperity. And this is where
it starts going.
It starts getting a little test-really. We can have shared prosperity to a chicken in every pot, kids, to a degree that seems unimaginable today. In the future, everyone's lives could be better than anyone's life is now. Now, if you think about it, Jeff and Paris, we live as kings do these days. We've got running water, hot and cold. We don't have to go outside to go to the bathroom. We can watch TV. I mean, in some ways, we do live, not all of us. And I think it's a mistake to say all of us.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
He's arguing for
so everyone's
shared
lives
prosperity with no basis for that argument.
Prosperity alone doesn't necessarily make people happy. There are plenty of miserable rich people.
Oh,
but it would meaningfully improve the lives of people around the world.
Okay, wait. So he's asking for $150 billion so that we can all have money? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you have to spend the money to
distribute.
No, wait a minute.
This is
you have to spend the money.
It's trickle-down technology.
No.
Trickle-down venture capital.
Money.
Yeah.
He's even said maybe it's going to cost $1 trillion to create a true.
Yeah, but once you give me the $1 trillion, you guys will be fine. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, mightn't you be? Here's one narrow way to look at human history. He writes, after thousands of years of compounding scientific discovery and technological progress, we figured out how to melt sand, add some impurities, arrange it with astonishing precision at extraordinarily tiny scale into computer chips, run energy through it, and end up with systems capable of creating increasingly capable artificial intelligence. He's describing, of course, the computer chip revolution.
Thank you, AT&T Bell Labs.
Yeah, this may turn out to be the most consequential fact about all of history so far. I don't disagree with him on that.
I disagree. I think it's consequential, but I think it's consequential along others in history. Paris?
Yeah, I think it's a disrespect to Mr. Gutenberg out there. And all those who've written about him.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
Paris.
Okay. Well, we don't have to grade each invention. All right. It's possible we'll have super intelligent. This is, by the way, the headline that everybody reported on. It's possible we will have a super intelligence within a few thousand days. That's essentially saying in the next.
Let's all do the look again.
It sounds like sooner. What? It sounds like sooner, but it's really the next 10 years is what he's saying.
No, it's super intelligent. What the F does super intelligence even mean? That's the hype, the BS of BS. I watched an entire half-day AI hype conference this week of academics presenting their papers. And one guy said that I don't know who he was quoting. He was quoting somebody else he'd just seen from a university who said, one of the mistakes is we call it intelligence. We should have called it fancy math. And then if you thought, well, fancy math did that, and fancy math did that, it wouldn't be so bad. When we call it intelligence, when we anthropomorphize it to that extent, and then we say it's super intelligence, it's greater than us, and then we say we're going to get there in 1,000 days, and I'm going to bring it to you if you give us money, that is all BS. I'm confident we'll get there. I'm not.
Do you think that what a human brain does is in some way significantly different than what a computer can do?
Yes.
I had an interesting discussion with
Jason.
Jason
Because we don't
today.
even know what a human brain does.
That's good.
It is so unfathomably complex to us that we cannot figure out.
But what if
why
it
we
is
do what
just
we
a
do.
deterministic machine that is hard for us to understand, but is just a machine? I don't think there's a lot of evidence that it's anything beyond a machine.
Will be able to somehow recreate that without having any understanding about how the machine works in the first place?
Well, he says deep learning has been the surprise, right? That's actually worked. And
not with accuracy, not with arithmetic. Yeah, I had a discussion with Jason on AI Inside today, where he brought up a new Google thing about quantum computing and they've done something to make it more accurate. But quantum computing, as you've explained to me, Leo, is inherently close enough. It's inexact. It's not a logic gate. It says 1 + 1 = 2. Large language models and generative AI are similar. They are random by choice. They are never exact. And so the interesting thing to me is that's what makes them more like the human brain. Because we expected computers to be exact, and now computers are getting more like us in the sense that they are less exacting.
I think we need somebody like Sam Altman to posit this vision. It's fine for people to shoot at him now, as you are, and as Sarah Perez does in her TechCrunch piece. But I think it's good that somebody is there saying,
if he didn't have all this test trail BS behind him,
then why are all of the top executives at OpenAI leaving?
Yes, another one today.
Mira Murati, the CTO of OpenAI, resigned today, and no one really knows why. It was a complete shock to employees.
Well, that's the problem, is we don't know, right? She was the interim CEO when
for 12 hours,
Sam was deposed.
Yeah.
He says at the end, if you were a lamplighter, fast forwarded into today's world, you would see prosperity all around you. Maybe not if you went down to Skid Row, but you would see something pretty amazing. I think that's true. If you took your great grandparents and brought them in the 21st century, they would be kind of boggled by what they saw. People flying through the air.
But let's look at the amount of change that happened around 1900. Either side of that is unbelievable. Right? Transportation that couldn't have existed before. Sure. Broadcasting to the whole world. Sure. Film, recording things. I'm researching my next book on the line of
Do you
tech.
not think that the technological advances of the last 200 years are far outpace the ones of the previous 1,000 years?
Let me go back to the previous turn of the century, and I think those were more momentous. Let me just give you one example. The word phonograph. I didn't realize that stenographers were called phonographers. Why? Because they were the only mechanism of recording spoken words. Think about that for a second. There was no other mechanism for recording spoken words than writing them down. Why is the phonograph named the phonograph? Is because it replaced what the humans did. Because it was that new, right? Isn't that cool? Right? But you think about that you could not record anything. You could draw it. Here comes the camera, and here comes the phonograph. And suddenly there's an entirely different view of reality, that you can record it and have a different sense of verity in front of you. That's huge. You could never go faster than your horse could go. Now you can go really fast. Now you can run machines. Now you can do things. You could never print more than 4,000 newspapers in a day, because that's all you could pull off the press. Now you could do hundreds of thousands and millions, and on and on and on. And so I think that the changes were more fundamental than Leo. Ours
I do think that's
wowie.
an interesting point. It is completely reality altering to go from a world where you couldn't capture someone's voice, you wouldn't be able to communicate with someone over long distances. Broadcast is not something you're even able to conceive of, to those all being relatively commonplace among the middle class. I think that is the sort of fundamental leap we're also, seeing in a way over the last couple of decades, 100 years we've been in, certainly. But it is somewhat less drastic because it is improvements upon already existing technologies for us.
Yes. And they're marked improvements, impressive improvements. But yeah, I think you're right, Paris. And he's trying to tie it to this idea that this is going to bring prosperity to all. And he's going,
which I think is also just deeply laughable, coming from a man who is raised a truly eye-watering amount of venture capital and lives in prosperity. The idea that for the average the average person in America, much less the average low income or impoverished person in America, that Sam Altman raising billions of dollars is going to meaningfully improve their life in any way is laughable.
Yeah. But his hubris is so extreme. It's not only about that, but he says, if I may continue, but it's a mistake to get distracted by any particular challenge. Deep learning works, and we will solve the remaining problems. I can see him pounding the desk. We can say a lot of things about what may happen next, but the main one is that AI is going to get better with scale. That's a big thing too. Give me a lot of money to make it bigger, and there are those who disagree with him from the Stochastic Parrots paper, for example, and that will lead to meaningful improvements to the lives of people around the world. And then he goes on with more hee-haw. AI models will soon serve as autonomous personal assistants to carry out specific tasks on behalf of, like, coordinating medical care on your behalf. So you throw in those kinds of anecdotal things and say, okay, yeah, look at the amazing, look around you, and you see it. But the ego of this to think that he could deliver this. And by the way, he's not a technologist; he's an investor.
No, he's a money raiser.
Yeah,
and somebody's got to do that job.
Understood.
I don't think there's any harm in letting Sam Altman say these things and try to raise the money. And if there are billionaires out there, because he's not going to get the money from you and me, he's going to get the money from people who already have a lot of money.
Yeah, but he's going to use it to go to Washington, D.C. He's going to get policy changed. And behind all this, and you even said test reality on your own, Leo. God bless you. I want to kiss you for
Drink.
You've taken it on now. Is that what's behind that is eugenics.
Well, that's not a good thing, obviously.
No, and that's what Musk
and maybe
is more obvious
it would
about,
be,
and Sam is more subtle about.
Yeah, it may be better to focus on taking money out of politics then, so that these people don't have a disproportionate influence on our society. But I think it's fine for, the railroads got built by capitalists. Most of them went bankrupt, but we at least got the rails laid.
How many people died for those railroads?
Well, that's the nature. People are going to die anyway. It's the nature of life. People die, right?
Yeah,
should you not build the railroads?
A disproportionate amount of Chinese people died, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, largely immigrants died. And I don't know. I just think we should try and be better.
I'm glad we built the railroads.
Yeah, but we could have built them better. That's the question.
We could have built them without killing a lot of people.
Was that the only way?
I believe the future is going to be so bright that no one can do it justice by trying to write about it now. A defining characteristic of the intelligence age will be massive prosperity. That is starting to sound like Krupp in 1933.
Right.
That's what's disturbing.
To basically armed Germany.
Right.
So yeah, okay. So I mean, there are things that we would not like to have happen, but at the same time, I think that we have to have a excitement and vision for what technology can bring us, and not say, we already been down this road.
I agree.
I agree,
but who and how?
But isn't that the job mostly of fiction? That's the job of fiction.
Yeah, well, in fact, that's what's happened, is that all these guys are doing is spouting fiction that inspired them. But honestly, we probably wouldn't have gone to the moon without fiction. I mean, and what have we gained going to the moon?
Exactly.
There's a lot of people who said we shouldn't have gone to the moon.
People like Sam Altman. It's not fiction. It's not people like Sam Altman who has those visions. It's people like Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, but Gene Roddenberry had a TV show. He did not create a company. He did not create AI.
He inspired. No,
yes, but he inspired the creation.
Sure, that's how it as it always has been. Art inspires, and then people bring it to life. That's what art does. I'm not against that. But
back to your
Gene Roddenberry is not an industrialist. Those guys. I mean, Isaac Asimov wrote a lot of great books, but it inspired a lot of people, including apparently Sam Altman. But that doesn't mean that Sam Altman doesn't have a role. We can't let we're not going to let the book authors invent the future.
But go back to your original question. At this point, would I prefer Sam Altman or Mark Zuckerberg? I'll take Mark Zuckerberg, and I'll take Jan LeCun over OpenAI.
I'm starting to get soured on Jan LeCun. I'll be honest. I think he's one of those guys who is making his his name by saying nay.
What say nay? He's the one who's putting AI in more hands than anyone else by
That's
making
true.
it open.
He's the scientist behind Llama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which one would you take?
He certainly knows more about
choice.
AI than I do. I'm not saying that.
Paris, you have no choice. You are stuck. You must decide. There's a future to be built. And there's money behind it. No choice. You can't prevaricate. Is it Musk or is it Altman?
Musk or Altman?
No,
Musk.
Musk.
No, Musk. I'm sorry.
Zuck.
That was a Freudian. Zuck or Altman. Yeah, Musk is at the end.
I would say, journalistically, I would say Zuck, because he seems to be more of a known quantity, has kind of a group of advisors around him. His thinking behind key decisions seems to be known. Altman is more of an enigma.
Do you think Musk has learned any lessons? I mean, why do I say Musk again? Do you think Zuck has learned any lessons through all the troubles?
I mean,
or
certainly.
do you think he has better PR people?
By the way, it was Arthur C. Clarke.
I think a big part of that is probably better PR people, but I think he's learned a lot of lessons. How could you not, being raked over the coals in front of Congress, having I think something that has been coming to mind as we've been talking about this is Zuck used to be the sort of idealist that we're talking about with Altman, where he's making huge declarations, positioning his company as the future of everything, casting himself as a great man leading the world in its next generation of technological innovation. That led to him getting too close to the sun, his wax wings burnt, and he ended up being raked over the coals in Congress for God knows how many years. And now he's like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm stepping back. The company, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, all this is still doing the same sort of thing, but his approach to it is a lot more mindful. He is taking a back seat as a public figure in a way that CEOs of yore typically do, because that is how you do not attract the ire of regulators. I think that leadership in all of its forms is a performance, and we're seeing two different sides of it right now. And I guess
that's a good
Zuck's is more of cultivated, I suppose, at this point.
But
it's
in both
really
cases, their performances. That's a very good insight, I think.
That's really good. And, I think about it too. So Nick Clegg is now a major power at Meta. And
has been, but increasingly so.
That's the point. He's increasingly so. He's president of global affairs. He's trained Zuck in how to be politic and deal with politics. And meanwhile, the last COO left. And I wonder whether that's a change. Yeah, Sandberg, thank you. Whether that's a change that was significant in all of this, and the new Zuck. That she was all business, and Clegg is more about policy and politics and how to play that.
I believe like Cecilia Kang and Ashira Frankel wrote an interesting article about this a couple years ago, that it ended up, this is part of what happened around the time Zuck's fire burned out. It was he and Sheryl Sandberg were being raked over the coals by regulators. Their names were becoming closer to household names in terms of attracting the ire of the American and global public. They were being brought in front of regulators around the globe. And at a certain point, what had for a while been a very close working relationship became a rivalry, and Sandberg lost. And so she ended up being the one pushed out and kind of took the fall for it in a way. She left and someone else has risen in her stead. And that's just how the game is played.
And it's not the revenue person who rose. It's
a politician, former deputy prime minister.
Yeah.
By the way,
Clegg, which makes sense. It's it's politics. It's performance.
Yeah.
Clegg was in the news this week for criticizing the current prime minister, Rishi Sunak, for wasting a lot of time.
He's not the current prime minister.
Oh, I'm sorry. Former Prime Minister Rishi
Yes.
Sunak. I know it's so hard to keep up.
It is. All these lettuce heads go by. Yes.
Sunak had a summit focusing on AI safety, and Nick said, "I think we wasted a huge amount of time going down blind alleys, assuming that this technology was going to eliminate humanity, and we're all going to be zapped by a robot with glowing red eyes."
Where did Clegg say that? Oh, that's wonderful.
He said in a podcast released on Thursday. This was the November Bletchley Park summit that Sunak had, focusing on AI risks to national security. I don't have a problem with investigating that. I think that's fine.
No, because this is again where the test realists get us. Is they have redefined safety as this side of doom, as opposed to current environmental harm, current labor harm, current energy harm, current hubris of this sort. And so they've ruined the sense of safety. So the politicians and the policymakers who are ignorant come along and say, "Oh, we're talking about safety. Oh yeah, let's get the doomers here."
Let's take a little break, and then I want the AI to have a conversation about Jeff's new book, The Web We Weave, from Basic Books. Is it in the bookstores now?
No, it'll be October 8th.
October 8th, just a couple of weeks away. Our show today brought to you by, and I mean quite literally brought to you by, our good friends at Cashfly. Cashfly, for over 20 years, has been the track record leader for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivering, serving over 5,000 companies in over 80 countries, and we're one of those companies. That's how we know. We've been using Cashfly for almost our entire existence, at more than 10 years, I think closer to 15. We love Cashfly's lag-free video loading. We love their hyper-fast downloads, their friction-free site interactions. What we love is that we don't ever hear from you saying, "Hey, what happened? I couldn't download the podcast," or "It took a really long time." Cashfly is the only CDN built for throughput. Get this, they can do ultra-low latency video streaming, delivering video to over 1 million concurrent users with latency less than 1 second. Got a game? You'll love their lightning fast gaming that delivers downloads faster, zero lag, glitches, or outages. And everybody who serves images on the net will love their mobile content optimization. Cashfly offers automatic and simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. And one of the things we liked, because when we started doing this, we weren't sure, well, how much is this going to cost? Or, the bandwidth spikes at the beginning of the week and then goes down the rest of the week. So they offered us and offer you flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need it. And then once you understand your load and so forth, you can get discounts for fixed terms. The real point is you can design your contract when you switch to Cashfly. We did, and that was a lifesaver. Cashfly delivers rich media content up to 158% faster than other major CDNs and allows you to shield your site content in the cloud. We've been doing that since before they offered this to the public, and it's amazing, 100% cache hit ratio. I love that. With Cashfly's elite managed packages, you'll always get the VIP treatment. We always do. Your dedicated account manager is with you from day one, ensuring a smooth implementation and reliable 24/7 support when you need it. We love Cashfly. We know you will too. Learn how you can get your first month free at cashfly.com/twit. Our CDN, you've heard, I know you know this because I've said it for years. At the beginning of every show, bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cashfly at cachefly.com/twit. Thank you, Cashfly, for making everything we do possible. So Notebook LM, which we when they came out, we actually had one of the designers
Stephen
on.
Johnson.
Thanks to you, Stephen Johnson. It's Google's notebook that ingests content and then delivers summaries. You had it do a podcast.
So Stephen Johnson, so they came up with a new feature, which is that you can create an audio dialogue in the AI about it. Stephen Johnson put his entire book into it.
Today with
so I did the same thing.
Final proofs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So this is all AI generated?
It's all I generated.
It thinks that Jeff's book is called Final Proofs.
Because that was the name of the file I put into it.
Oh.
All the craziness we deal with today.
I like it.
And he argues that the internet itself isn't the
Can
villain.
you turn it up a little bit,
here.
Leo?
Okay.
It's more like a mirror,
Yeah.
like reflecting our.
I have it as loud as I can go, I think. Let's see.
I can play
Yeah,
it
I
here
don't-
on my
I
side.
can't get any louder. You get the idea, though. I mean, it really sounds like us.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it replaces us, and it's about how long is it there? What does it say? 20 minutes?
Let's
anxiety
see.
back at us.
9 minutes?
You know,
Yeah.
and he points.
Yeah,
out
9 minutes, 52
blame
seconds.
the internet for spreading misinformation or eroding trust.
It's
But
giggling.
Those issues have been
It's
around
a good
way longer than our
summary.
favorite social
It's
media.
Is it
interestingly
accurate?
structured. All in all, yes. It's interestingly structured. It's not obvious. It's not like, well, then he says, and then he says, and then he says. No, it synthesized the content in an interesting way. Now, I put it in once, and I think it was very good. It was very impressive.
Yeah.
Robot.
I put it in again. It wasn't so good. It thought that it was a bunch of articles.
Ah.
But
So now you did it with Paris's
so then I
collected
took
works.
I did two. I did one where I took 7 articles that were in the rundown last week on AI and put it in.
Ah.
But then I decided to do the Paris version where I took her oeuvre about her new beat. So there was I think 4 stories.
Oh,
And I had to make PDFs of each story. Easy, just print a PDF,
wow.
and then put it in. So here's the Paris show.
That's a phrase that makes you think of, robot teachers and kids writing essays with a blink. But
That's funny, right? There was a lot of fear when tools like ChatGPT came out. Like everyone was worried about the future of learning. But what's happening in schools today is way more complicated than that. We've got a bunch of research.
Do you recognize the article this is based on, Paris?
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's just very funny that it's got like a cold open.
It's so natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
reports in
Yes.
these articles, you name it, that paint an interesting picture. So let's dive deep into AI and education. Initially, yeah, there was a lot of fear, and rightfully so. I remember those articles from The Atlantic and Inside Higher Ed. Teachers,
This is not good. This puts us out of business, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, it
this
does.
is better than anything we could do.
Why are we out here at 7 p.m. at night doing this, guys?
No kidding. They're
Bye.
giggling. They're laughing.
Yeah.
were saying AI
They're
was
saying,
like, a
like,
plague,
you know.
worried about the death of critical thinking and all that.
Yeah, it's interesting though, right? This fear, it always comes up with new tech in education. Like think about calculators or the internet, even letting kids have cell phones in class. Every time there's anxiety. And to be fair, the worries about jobs and critical
She
thinking.
sounds nice. I'd like to get to know her. And he's pretty friendly sounding too.
Yeah.
So did Stephen explain how they're doing this? Those are real human voices that they've ingested?
I don't know how they do the
Podcast did they
technology.
train on?
Yeah.
But
Must have been ours.
The thing about Notebook LM is that it's fairly RAG based in the sense that it doesn't go off in making up stuff all over, but it obviously uses context and
Wow.
brings context into that discussion. It's pretty damned amazing.
This is Stephen's post, actually not Stephen's, from Biao Wang. Notebook LM now lets you listen to conversations about your sources. So you provide it with, what is the limit? You said the word RAG, retrieval augmented generation. It's when you take documents and feed them to an LLM and then ask it to summarize. What is the limit of the number of documents?
I think it's 50 now. It's quite a lot.
50. Wow.
Yeah, we could take, it'd be, I didn't want to, I have a life, so I didn't do this. But it would be interesting to take, let's say, last week's show and take all the articles we in fact talked about, make a PDF of each and put it in and see what podcast it created.
I don't think it would have a fun diatribe about WikiFeet, though.
No, it wouldn't.
That's the sort of human content you can only get on This Week
Here.
in Google.
Here with us.
I actually think Leo nailed it when he said, I want to meet these people because you're never going to be able to. Like, and that's the crux of it, is that like people listen to this show because they like you three, you know?
Because they think we exist.
Yeah, but these are likable. If you go back to the one about mine,
But you're never going to
I
be able
like
to
them.
actually meet them or talk
Who
to them. or
cares?
any
No,
of them.
Yeah,
90%.
they can't believe that that's their friend.
I can't ever meet Nicole Wallace, but I watch her every day.
Oh,
You have a
can.
big
I mean,
crush
that's
on her
awesome.
face.
You
let's
could.
be honest.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's a journalistic crush.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, honestly, this to me is exactly what we're talking about. We're in a
Very
revolution
impressive.
here.
Well, I mean, I could see some utility.
AI
where-
came for the podcasters.
and we did
Yeah.
nothing. I could see taking a bunch of articles that I want to get some sense of and throwing it in there and kind of making, as I take my evening walk. Yeah, maybe.
I think maybe what Benito's saying, and I think this is true. So this isn't the most efficient way of ingesting content.
No.
What you listen to shows like ours for is companionship. There's real people talking and having a conversation, and it's like your friends on a walk with you. And I think even as good as the AI is, you're never gonna feel like, well, these are my friends. But
if you listen to the NPR morning news report,
they're pretty robotic. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And so
they're robotic because they are filling a very specific format. They have to hit a certain number of seconds.
Oh, I know why they're robotic.
It has to slot into the radio wheel.
He was that robot.
You were that robot.
I'm 50 years.
Yeah.
This is Daniel Barbero, and you're listening to The Daily. I feel like
I'm Audie Cornish.
Yeah, see, you listen, don't you? You know Audie. I don't know.
It's technologically impressive.
Yeah.
It is.
Put that lamplighter down and say, hey, guy, give
me something to listen to as you're walking around, lamping the lights. Though, yeah.
I will say, though, again, I mean, yes, this is impressive, but I feel like this falls under the parlor trick category.
Does it not devalue what we do a little bit, though?
No. It doesn't, I don't think, because one, we have the expertise to know whether or not the things we're talking about are accurate. I'm sure if I went through and listened to that podcast, there would probably be some inaccuracies in there. But also, we are journalists and storytellers and have been doing this for a while, and we approach what we are doing in a way that we're making something for an audience, and we know what humans like and don't like, and know how to frame that. Like the way that AI in Education podcast opened up doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't fully have a hook or any of the normal things you'd put in the beginning of a podcast to get someone interested in the idea or even set up what you're about to talk about. I think that there's still a lot left out there that human podcasters do over whatever that is.
I think it's perspective, right? It's like people, like all of these stories are filtered through the three of yours perspective. And that's what people listen to this show for,
Well, Stephen, but I think the purpose of this is different. And I get to there is a story in here about how you can have a social network with nothing but bots, but we'll get to that later. What Stephen says,
by the way, Outasync points out on our Discord, there are already many AI influencers that have huge followings, and in Japan, you have these iduro that are, everybody knows, made up fantasy characters that have huge followings. So I'm not convinced that there's anything we do as humans that is so very special.
Well, what Stephen says here is he emphasizes the informational value. And he says,
but it's a terrible way to, wouldn't it be more efficient to read Paris's articles? Or
not necessarily. If you have 5 minutes, there's 4 articles in there, and if I have 5 minutes, which is the length, I can get a sense of them. And what he says here is that it's translating information from one format to another.
Right.
Expanded. That's what's interesting about NotebookLM in this case. And so it's about information more. But literally, there is a new social network that is nothing but bots, which I think is kind of ridiculous.
Well, who's using it? Bots?
It's supposed to be for, I guess,
lonely people.
If you want, people. Like, you say what sort of reply guys you want. If you want trolls or, people who are obsessed with you or people who will be conversational, and then people will reply.
So that's what replaces us.
Will reply. Yeah.
I want a young woman who's going to make fun of old men in this structure, and that'll make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things Mark talked about at the Meta event is that they're getting celebrities to do voices. Judi Dench, Aquafina, Keegan-Michael Key, John Cena. They're going to be doing those voices. So maybe now it doesn't even matter if it's not a real person. If it's a celebrity voice.
But the voice doesn't make the person.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, wait. Amazon tried this. No one is using their voice assistant that we will not name.
Well, look for it this week in Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. I don't know.
For John Cena to be talking to me on Instagram, I just want to see what my friends are doing.
Right.
Please don't make me tap out.
But if you didn't have friends, see, you're in the absolutely enviable position of having friends. Those of us who have no friends,
right, exactly,
might need to talk to John Cena.
Want John Cena to be our friend, or your dad.
Leo is the closest I've got. And
I'll take your dad. He looks pretty famous.
It's true. He is.
Just don't talk politics.
Yeah. Just fascinating.
It really is.
I am. I guess what I am saying really is I am wide open to whatever AI brings us, and I can't wait to see what it is. And that's really been my whole life has been about, hey, technology's amazing. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Right.
And I just feel that way about AI.
And make it and do things, but not to predict now that it's going to change.
Well, I do believe
prosperity for all.
Yeah.
And
okay. And that may be BS, and it may be to raise
BS.
money and so forth. I think he believes it. It's definitely part of the TESCREAL myth. But you have to have a vision. Whether you're right or not is irrelevant. But you have to have something you're aiming at. You can't just say, well, let's make it, see what happens. Gutenberg didn't say, let's just make a printing press. I don't know what they're going to do with it. He must have had an idea. He wanted to get the monks out of the
We don't
scriptoriums.
know, but no, that's not necessarily. He was, you could argue that he was trying to improve the work
literacy
of them. No.
No.
The one guess is that he wanted to make a Bible. Another guess is that there was a bishop in town who wanted a new psalter. And this was a way to impose that psalter on multiple churches.
I mean, think about the people who built the cathedrals over many generations, hundreds of years. They would never get to see it, but they had the vision of something that they were all working towards. And perhaps they thought this would help them get into heaven or whatever. And they created an amazing edifice that we get to enjoy today. Is that so very different?
Then what? AI?
Then Sam Altman saying, I want to build a cathedral of AI.
Well, that's his God complex. Right. It's not different in that case.
Well, it's not. That's the thing. And
I would say Sam Altman's more akin to like the Medici boss in this case. He's not the person
had to pay
doing
for
the actual labor.
I mean, Michelangelo wasn't going to do it for free.
Yeah.
Does Pope Julius deserve no credit for the Sistine ceiling?
Yeah, but he doesn't have to burn the planet down to paint that. Like Sam Altman wants. That's like the energy.
I think you could make the case the Catholic Church did a few awful things to pay for the Sistine ceiling. I don't, and I'm not. And by the way, I'm not saying that's a good thing at all. But you gotta.
What's your argument here, Leo?
My argument is I embraced the future, and I'm very excited about it, and I hope I live to see it. I have no idea what it's going to be like. It could be terrible. I hope that we will do it with those values that Mark espoused. I hope we'll do it with compassion for others and care for others. And I'm certainly trying to live my life that way, and I hope others would do that. But I'm very excited about what we're going to see. Aren't you?
I'm rarely excited about anything, but that's a personality defect.
You're just jaded.
Yeah. She's nihilistic.
Yeah.
Are you a nihilist?
She tries to.
I'd say I'm an optimistic nihilist.
The world's going to hell, but it's going to be a fun ride. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's going to hell, but I'm going to try my best to enjoy it.
I'm kind of saying the same thing. It's better than despairing, which I sometimes fall into. That's a terrible pit.
Yeah, despairing is overrated. There's only so much despair you can do.
I love this notion of progress. It's not always progress, right? It's also regression. It's as you try to progress, then there are those who want to hold you back and will fight to hold you back and will get violent to do so. We see that happening today. And the progress isn't about technology. The progress is also about race and equity and other things in society. And that's the fight we will always have. I think that technology can unquestionably be used in wonderful ways. We can also screw it up.
Yeah, and I would say absolutely a part of our job. Part of my job I see is as a cheerleader for technology, but it's also part of our job to lobby for doing it in a good way.
Do it well, yes.
Yeah. So I think that we can do both. I feel very fortunate to have been on the sidelines to watch the last 50 years of technology. It's been amazing.
Amen.
It's been incredible. And I hope AI lives up to its promise. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I also hope that we don't burn the world down doing it. That's really a cause for concern. We talked on earlier about the fact that Microsoft is re-energizing the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant, the site of the largest nuclear disaster in the United States history, for AI. It's a massive nuclear plant, and they're going to put it back online in the next few years because they need so much juice to create AI. Is that a
grid,
bad thing?
frankly, can't handle it.
Sorry?
The grid, our electrical grid actually can't really handle it.
But it can't handle our EVs either. And we want to move everybody to EVs because...
Yeah, but only one of those is generating a bunch of money right now. It's not EVs, it's AI.
But that money
Elon is
fake.
about to become a trillionaire.
Yeah.
I don't think
Value.
it's based on his...
No, it's
space.
definitely not based in reality, but things often aren't when
It's
it comes to
generating
money.
venture capital.
Right.
Yes.
But it's not.
I don't have any problem with that because where does venture capital come from? I guess some of it comes from like the retirement funds of your local firefighters, but and
teachers.
that's but that's on them for investing.
But
that
Leo,
way.
this is late stage capitalism argument. But one thing I just wrote part of a chapter about the linotype, and it was a moment when there's a bad character, there's an villain in my story, and he's the publisher of the New York Tribune, and he's the one who realized that media was going to be controlled by capital, because no longer do you just buy a wooden press and some type and you can say what you want to the world. Now you had to have capital to buy the high-speed presses.
A.J. Liebling said the power of the press belongs to the cat who owns the presses.
Well, and buys ink by the barrel is what he said.
Right.
And now the irony is they buy it by the thimble because nobody buys print anymore. But capital was what took over media and public discourse in the late 19th century. And now capital in one sense is taking it over all the more. Look at OpenAI. But if these tools are made open in a way that many of us can have access to them, then there may be a different definition of equity. That's where, again, I'll contrast more than anything else, Meta versus OpenAI, because of Meta's view and openness.
Let's take a little break. I want to do the Google changelog. I need an AI to help me.
Do you
run
really
the
want
show.
to do it? Do you really want to do it? Or do you just feel like you should do it?
I never want to do it, but I always feel like I should.
You know what? Here's a little game. Maybe next week we feed the changelog into Notebook LM so that it does just the changelog.
Scooter X, would you do that for us? We can do Scooter X's changelog as some disembodied AI voice, or
Isn't that
maybe
fun?
as Dame Judi Dench and John Cena.
Then we can
talking
all
back
go
and
outside
forth.
and do something else.
Aquafina, who sounds just like Scarlett Johansson, I learned, could do it, and it'd be great. And Scarlett couldn't complain. How about
wonder
that?
if we would get taken down for that. I wonder.
No, of course not.
Using someone else's voice. No, I'm saying the using someone's voice thing.
But they paid them to, by the way, it is said, millions of dollars each to do their voices.
Well, that's OpenAI.
I don't make the rules on YouTube, man.
This is Meta. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
let's
I don't know
not
what
get
YouTube will
taken
take us
down.
for.
Oh, it was such a good idea.
No, we will not get taken down for that. I promise you. What would be the excuse?
Hey, I don't know.
It's unique content. It has
vibes.
no content
I'm
tag
down.
to it.
I'm down.
Scooter X,
you got your job.
you have an assignment.
Benito is just doing a labor protest. He doesn't want the podcast to be
Hey,
replaced.
I still have to press play on the thing, so.
Hey, that's true.
I was going to make fun of Benito because he couldn't get it done last week. And I was going to say that Benito was scared for his job and was doing labor stoppage. And
What couldn't he
refused
get
to
done
play it.
last week? What happened?
It was just how to play the file.
Oh, we couldn't play the fake podcast last week.
Oh,
We saved
It wasn't
it for you.
working.
That's
We
what I
saved
do.
it for you.
That's my
Mhm.
job. Don't take my job.
There you go.
Let's take a little tiny break. You're watching This Week in Google with Mr. Jeff Jarvis, Ms. Paris Martineau, and your genial host, AI Leo. And now it's time for the Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
Yeah.
Before you start,
yes.
Can I just issue a complaint here? Not about you. There was yesterday a Chromebook showcase event.
And we didn't cover it.
No one has. There's nothing about it. There's a story about coming up.
If a Chromebook showcase event happens and no one covers it, does it really happen?
It didn't exist. So I wanted that to be in the changelog, and there's no changes to report, and I'm very upset.
There's nothing to say?
I guess not. There's nothing. If you search for it, you'll see a story saying the day before, here's what we're expecting from it, and then nothing. Silence.
Hands on.
Upset.
New hardware launched at the 2024 NYC Chromebook
Look at the
Showcase.
date, Leo. Look at the date.
This is from May 28th. I tried. Yeah. Here's the Chrome OS events page. Let's see what they have to say. Boy, this is the most boring.
I've never seen a less interesting page.
Future-proof your security posture.
Wait a minute. Now let's get
resilience starts with IT.
Meet Chrome OS at FSTech. Meet Chrome OS at Next.
The power of the modern endpoint.
Who needs an AI? We've got Paris. All right, get ready for this because I'm excited. Google TV. By the way, they have sold them out.
No,
in
really?
The Google store. But if you go to Best Buy and others, there's a place you could still get them. Google TV is adding more free channels, including, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Ross all day, all night.
Dog Whisper with Caesar Milan. He's still doing it. The Dove
Daz and
channel.
Ringside, Daz and Women's Football, the Dove channel, The Hill TV.
Oh, no.
Comedy Dynamics, and more. There are 157 free channels now.
And they're
on your
worth
Google
every
TV.
penny you're going to pay for them.
Free. They started with 80 channels when they launched in 2023, but that's impressive. That's very impressive. You may have noticed this. Just try it right now. Pause this show if you're watching on YouTube. Did you get an ad? Yeah. Google has started putting ads in your pause screen.
Huh.
They're not video ads. They're just little pop-ups like this one. The show is paused, but your hunger isn't. Dunkin's $6 meal deal. And that, I think, is supposed to prompt you to run out.
What was the, way back in early days, what was the program that your screensaver would take over and put news in it?
Oh, yeah. Something
for 400
point.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the thing. You were in the bathroom, but some advertiser was paying for showing you this. You paused the video for a reason. You're gone. And Dunkin' Donuts is paying for your eyeballs that are elsewhere.
Hold on. Just hold that thought. I'll be right back. Now Google has added passkey syncing to Chrome. We talked about this yesterday on Security Now. So if you use Chrome, you can save passkeys, whatever operating system you're using, Windows, Mac, Linux, yes, Linux, Chrome OS, Android devices, iOS coming soon. Instead of a QR code, you're going to get a PIN, and now you can move those passkeys to any device you use with Google Chrome. So that's probably good news for passkey adoption. Cloudflare has decided, this isn't really a changelog item, but we'll put it in here anyway. Cloudflare has decided to add tools that let your site block AI bots for free. So if you are not yet aware of this, it is very hard to keep those AI crawlers off your site. They often do not honor robots.txt, or you may not have the right line of code in your robots.txt. Now, thanks to Cloudflare, customers will have access to a dashboard showing which AI crawlers are visiting their websites and scraping data, including those that are attempting to camouflage their appearance. By the way, this is getting more and more prevalent. Today, LinkedIn announced they're going to let AI bots scrape LinkedIn for content. Lionsgate did a deal for all their movies and TV shows for OpenAI, scrape their content. It's lucrative.
Lionsgate is also, I think they're setting up a structure where they can OpenAI is going to create, no, it wasn't OpenAI, it's a different one. What's the other
Anthropic?
No, it's another one. It's the one that makes videos.
Runway. Oh, Runway.
Thank you. Runway. It's going to help create models for them based on the work that's there. Yeah.
You know, they're not doing long clips, but the little clips that they do could probably be very useful for a filmmaker who said, you know, we didn't get coverage on this. We've got to, you know, we got to get Keanu Reeves.
We need that establishing shot from the restaurant, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I imagine there'll be a lot of that. You know, Lisa was asking me, and this is a question for you guys. If somebody in an ad, for instance, she said that ad was clearly AI generated, should there be a little thing that says this ad AI generated? I said, no, I don't think so.
I think so.
You think so?
Why not?
Jeff, you're the
what does it mean to generate it? If you used it to redo a photo, is that AI generated?
Yeah,
if you used it
that's kind of my
fact check it, is that
like
AI generated?
Yeah.
I think, where is that line of calling it?
And how does that help you? I mean, you're looking at something. I think in a news story, for sure, if Channel 7 runs a clip of Kamala Harris and it's AI generated, they damn well better say this is not real. But that's news.
It's kind of like there's some sort of rule or regulation, and I feel like a European or Scandinavian country where if advertisements use Photoshop, they have to disclose it. And I feel like something similar. Like if it's using AI, slap that little marker.
It's going to be one we had in California. I'm sure Jeff remembers this at Prop 65, which said that every business that had carcinogenic chemicals anywhere in the business would have to have a Prop 65 warning. And so you can't go anywhere in California without a sign that says Prop 65 warning. There may be hazardous cancer-causing chemicals in this environment.
Your baby is going to die if you come in here.
And you see it so many places
everywhere.
that you no longer pay attention to it. No. And that's what would happen if you put an AI announcement on things. It was just like, well, of course, AI is everywhere. Oh, look, I just found a $50 bill in my pocket.
Is AI in there?
Solved.
Is
the
it
whole
real?
Business problem is solved.
I think that was mine, actually. You might need to send that back.
Okay, if it was yours, what president is on the front?
Guy with the mustache.
Yeah, he'd have
got some for glasses.
Yeah. Is that Ulysses S. Grant?
Probably.
Nobody knows. Some guy with a beard.
Doesn't it say?
Maybe.
Out there, some dollar bill head is shaking their fist at the screen.
Don't you know that's Ulysses S. Jackson, the president of the Senate in 1853?
It's Grant. It's Grant.
It is Grant. Not our best.
Did you know that, Benito, or you looked it up?
No, it's definitely Ulysses S. Grant. Look at him.
Oh,
Benito had to pass that test when he came in the United States. You has to be able to tell you what every character is on every U.S. bill, right?
Sadly, I was born an American.
Are you a citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I gotta call to make. Wait a minute.
That's Benito's now.
Yeah. Just kidding. We love you, Benito. We like to tease.
We do indeed.
Google Photos is getting a redesigned video editor. Speaking of AI-powered presets that add video effects with a single click. So you better watch out. You better not cry. I'll tell you. Here, is this real? Is this guy really doing a skateboard trick? I don't know. God, no one knows.
Saying I can't even trust skateboard videos anymore.
No more.
Yeah.
That's sad. That if we can't trust skating videos, that's
yeah. What
sad.
good is that?
What do we have left?
Google says these updates are starting to roll out today, so get ready. Oops, I gotta be careful. I don't want to close this window. I want to close this window. Thank you. Oh, I did it again. This is, by the way, the most complicated setup, and I am just not capable. I am not capable. Google's Gemini AI will soon appear in your corporate workspace. Are you excited about this? Workspace users, Gemini AI for free. You used to have to pay $30 for this. Will be part of your.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
I don't want it there. Get it away from me.
No longer need to purchase a separate Gemini add-on.
Oh.
Do you think this is just so they can boost their numbers of Gemini users?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
You cynic. You're such a cynic.
No, I'm an optimistic mind.
I never know your father was a movie star, I tell you. Google Earth AI eliminates clouds.
So they've updated, I put this in here, they updated Street View and associated services with various AI
Ooh, look how pretty that is.
Right. It's an enhanced Street View view.
So this is a image of
a cloud removal AI. Why can't we have clouds?
No, if it's for looking down. It's for
you don't want clouds, shadows, mist, or haze.
I retract my
See, look at this.
See there.
This is San Francisco from 1938 to 2022, but without the clouds, you can kind of see, what is it, shrinking? Is the city shrinking? I'm terrified.
I think it's two different photos. There's
I'm not sure what
two different angles. It's not a good comparison.
Yeah, that's bad, Google. That's bad. Get an AI to fix that. Anyway, that's cool. And they're also bringing Street View to Bosnia-Herzegovina, Namibia, Liechtenstein, and Paraguay.
They have a new, smaller camera that's makes places more accessible.
That's kind of cool. So they could take it out on the dock and stuff like that.
This will be really great for the geoguessing community.
Yeah. Right.
Community of people that, they do some great work.
You can now get hands-free help on your headphones by just saying, "Hey, Goog." If you have,
they're changing the nomenclature of the wake-ups because they're going to be adding Gemini to Buds.
So if you want Gemini, what do you say? Hey, Gemini?
I think you get Gemini when it
Gemini
says Google.
Cricket is what you say. I think.
I got Gemini on here. I actually think Gemini is pretty good, but I think they're all pretty good. They're none of them great. But earlier today, we were doing Windows Weekly, and I posited that it must be at least half of Qualcomm's income came from licensing. And then I thought, well, I know how to find that out. I'll ask Gemini. So I said, how much of Qualcomm's income last year came from licensing? And it knew the answer.
Qualcomm's 2023 fiscal year, licensing accounted for approximately 16% of its total revenue.
16%. So I was wrong. That's not what it told me last time.
Well, you think if you trust Gemini, but you don't know if you're
sure. Do you like that voice?
No.
It's kind of nasal. I wonder if I can change it. Anyway, that's the Google changelog. Next week, there it is. Scooter's doing it. Google Gemini is coming to Pixel Buds, but I guess you'll have to send the settings. Choose if you want Hey Google or the old voice assistant or the new one. Thank you for clarifying that. Next week, Scooter X is going to do the entire changelog as a podcast.
Oh no, it happened again.
It's telling me the story of the history of voice assistants.
I thought your sound went out.
IBM Shoebox, introduced in 1962 at the Seattle World's Fair.
What's telling you this?
No. Hey, Google, stop.
Well, be nice, Leo.
Oh,
jeez.
Thank you. And stop.
For stopping.
Yeah. Jeff and Paris, please. Every week I end this show with bitter regret. I'm going to tell you a little insider scoop here. I am a sad, sad podcaster because I end the show. I say, that's it. See you next time. 5 hours later or whatever. And I look at the rundown. I say, we didn't even cover a fraction of these fine stories that Google and Paris have put in. So help me out here. What are the big stories that I've missed?
He just said that Google and Paris put them in the rundown.
Yeah, Jeff, you've been relegated. Okay, I just spent that whole time fact-checking Gemini. It was correct. 16% of Qualcomm's.
Pretty good.
I
thought it was half. And in fact, when I asked earlier today, it said 20 to 30%. But I did ask this time specifically for 2023. So there you go. Amazon's making employees come back to work 5 days a week. No more remote work at Amazon. Sorry, kids.
They're not happy, Amazon.
Honestly, I think this is just a strategy to reduce headcount.
Yes. Get the weak links to say bye.
Bye.
But then you get this problem because you get quiet quitting, right? You got people go, okay, well, I'm going to look for work. Well, meanwhile, I guess I'll show up, but I'm
There was a great TikTok of a guy saying, going to work at Amazon, badges in and leaves immediately out the door.
Yeah.
Runs.
It's not going to go well, is it?
No, it's not.
How about the fact, did you see this? That way back in time, Raymond Chandler, who is best known, of course, for his character Philip Marlowe, in 1953, before I was even born, before Jeff was even born,
even that,
sent a letter to a friend with a jargon-filled passage parodying science fiction writing. He said, for instance, I checked out with K-19 on Aldebaran 3 and stepped out through the Chromolite hatch on my 22 model Sirius hardtop. I cocked the time jector in secondary and waded through the bright blue manda grass. My breath froze into pink pretzels. But, get ready for this. A little later, the sudden brightness swung me around and the fourth moon had already risen. I had exactly 4 seconds to hot up the disintegrator, and Google had told me it wasn't enough.
Proper name, Google, at that.
Google's responding. Stop it. Did somehow Raymond Chandler see into the future in 1953 and see that Google?
He had a dream.
Proving
Pink pretzels too.
Benito's point, it's always the fiction writers who are ahead. Right,
Yeah.
Benito?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thought is probably that he did not, that he just made up the word. But still,
Maybe that's where Google came from.
Google told me. Google
You got to
said.
stop saying it.
Hey, Google. Okay. That's my contribution to the pile. What do you got?
I'll give you one I love. Oh, you go ahead.
Make a good one.
102. Last week, a project known as WordFreak, short for frequency, shut down. It's a project analyzing human language usage, and it shut down because generative AI has polluted the data, the creator says. Basically, word frequency is a program that tracked the ever-changing ways that people use different languages, and it analyzes a bunch of different sources, including Wikipedia, movie and TV subtitles, news articles, books, social media, and it would be used to analyze changing language habits as like slang and popular culture change. The project's creator, Robin Spear, wrote the project will no longer be updated. Generative AI has polluted the data, she wrote. I don't think anyone has reliable information about post-2021 language usage by humans.
Wait, but
now the
all
web
of a
at
sudden,
large,
everybody was using the word delve, and they said, this can't be right.
I use the word delve.
I used the word delve, and I had to insist it was me. And of course, people said that's what an AI would say.
Now the web at large is full of slop generated by large language models written by no one to communicate nothing, including this slop in the data skews the word frequencies.
Isn't that data in the large language models, though?
Yeah.
Like the word usage frequency and things like that. Wasn't that?
Well, that's the thing. It ups the average of the average words, right?
Yeah.
More average words are used because it chooses the average words. I could see why maybe they're overreacting, but I could see why they might be.
I could see why it might just be time to end the project.
Yeah, they would know better than
good
anyone.
stand.
Yeah. Oh, good one. All right, Jeff.
All righty, line.
We're going to turn this into a competition and have people vote on which story was the best.
John Mulaney was hired to address a Dreamforce.
Yes.
And the San Francisco Standard was there to report on it. You want to read the first gags?
So This is, and I should mention that almost every comedian, maybe not of John Mulaney's stature, but almost every comedian does corporate gigs.
Right.
And when they do corporate gigs, they like to put in little jests and jibes at the CEO and, kind of personalize it to the company. Apparently, John Mulaney thought this was all beneath him. I don't know how much Dreamforce paid for him to speak. This is, by the way, Salesforce's big conference.
Dreamforce is a huge conference.
Huge. San Francisco
is just shut down.
Literally cleaned itself up last year for Dreamforce. So John starts by saying, let me get this straight. You're hosting a Future of AI event in a city that has failed humanity so miserably? The Standard says, Kevin Wynn writing, everybody inside the auditorium at the Moscone Center groaned. Any notion that the award-winning comic would play the corporate gig safe and clean were thrown out the window Thursday when Mulaney, closing the Dreamforce festivities, a headliner no less, started roasting his host, Salesforce, and the audience sitting right in front of him. You look like a group who looked at the self-checkout counters at CVS and thought, this is the future. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty funny. If AI is truly smarter than us and tells us that humans should die, then I think we should die. So many of you feel imminently replaceable. He also
this
said,
is my favorite one.
Can AI sit there in a fleece vest? Can AI not go to events and spend all day at a bar?
That's pretty much it, but I like that.
You know what? That's good comedy. That's good writing.
It is. It is.
Yeah. I'm wondering, however, he asked one attendee, "You're VP of Customer Success? Congratulations on the position that did not exist 5 years ago." I think he's probably just doing his gig. Yeah.
It's fine.
No evidence that Dreamforce didn't give him his money. I have to say, I've done the same thing. I've bitten the hand that feeds me. I was invited to go to Palm Beach, Florida, to speak to HBO affiliates some years ago. They thought they were getting a tech guy who was going to do a gadget-filled keynote showing people what the future was. They specifically said, don't mention anything about piracy, please. So what did I do? I talked about piracy.
Did you get paid?
Yeah, they gave me the check, but they practically spit on it before they gave it to me. I felt really bad, but I couldn't stand up in front of them. This was back when there was kind of a battle between HBO and NBC and others and the internet. They were really upset about pirates stealing stuff, and they were getting pretty nasty about it. And I said, chill out, man. You're criminalizing your customers.
Good for you. God's work, man.
Didn't go well. But I did get to stay at the, what is that beautiful Palm Beach hotel? It was pink. It was beautiful. I did get to stay there for a couple of nights. Yeah, it was nice.
Did you get the HBO
Mar-a-Lago, something like that. I can't remember
the
name of it. Anyway, I understand how Mulaney feels. You feel compromised when you take money from a big corporate to do a comedy, and so you're going to end up maybe trying to show your independence by roasting them a little bit. I bet they didn't mind that. I bet they laughed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Marquez Brownlee's wallpaper app?
$12 a month.
$12 a month for wallpaper.
Marquez.
It's just ridiculous to me that somebody who has all of this goodwill was created this huge persona. He could have launched a million things and made millions of dollars from them. Instead, he chooses the dumbest possible idea, which is a subscription phone wallpaper app.
Marquez, upon receiving some criticism,
constructive though it was,
constructive criticism, said, quote, "I hear you."
Very Succession.
I hear you. What was the slogan? We hear
for you.
We hear for you.
Yes.
We hear for you.
Because he wanted it to be "we hear you," but then his aide says, there's actually been some concern about us listening in on our cable customers, so we probably shouldn't say "we hear you." We hear for you. Anyway, I feel bad for Marquez. Marquez is a good guy. He's very talented, very smart, high integrity. I don't know why he doesn't need.
How do you think this happened?
No, he doesn't need this. I think somebody talked him into it.
It's
brand extension.
But why would he do that?
Well, why would I do many of the dumb things I've done?
Why would he wear the shirts he wears? I mean,
why would you own an elite cat?
Don't you like this shirt? Yeah,
it's very nice.
This comes from the screensavers days. This is an old bit of wardrobe.
Are those the screens that got saved?
They were the screens that got saved, although they would make me button the top button. I'll never forget on the screensavers, we hired a Hollywood producer, Big Shot, a wonderful guy. He had been a booker for the Carson show. So that really gave him the credentials to
lost that job, and all he could do was work on screensavers.
Technology show on a fading cable network. But I do remember him coming in and he said, this show needs one thing. I said, what's that? Because I used to be, by the way, the managing editor of the show, but he became the managing. I said, well, what does it need, Paul? He said, more cleavage. Said,
I was about to say, that's a classic Hollywood guy thing to say.
It was like, no, it doesn't. What it needs is more Linux.
WNBC.
What else you got? What else? Cards Against Humanity is suing Elon Musk's SpaceX. Now, by the way, if you've never played Cards Against Humanity, if you want true hilarity, get your friends and family together. Have you ever played this, Paris?
Yeah, it's great.
And the whole idea, it's a very simple game. You get handed out cards that are just a phrase, like the 7 dwarfs in your bed. And then the one person gets a fill in the blank phrase, and you pick from your hand the blank.
It's apples to apples, but it's darker and dirtier.
It's dirty. Anyway, they're wonderful people. Apparently, back in 2017, when the president was talking about building a border wall, they decided to thwart him by raising money. 150,000 people, in fact, donated $15 to this crowdsourced campaign to purchase a vacant land in Cameron County, Texas, land that would have been used to build the wall. They bought it in 2017. It was kind of a stunt. But they owned it free and clear. For at least 6 months, SpaceX, according to the lawsuit, has, quote, treated the property as its own. Cards Against Humanity suing SpaceX, accusing it of trespassing, clearing the land of vegetation, laying down gravel, bringing in generators, and using it to park vehicles and store construction materials. SpaceX did not respond to the Washington Post on this story. It is, right next to SpaceX's Starbase industrial complex. And perhaps it was just an innocent error that they thought this was part of the land.
Sure.
Well, when Cards Against Humanity confronted them over it, I believe SpaceX said, here's an offer for your land. It's a low ball. You have 24 or 48 hours to respond. So they were aware of it at some point, it seems.
That made you don't want to make Cards Against Humanity mad. They said, we're probably going to lose because we don't have as much money as SpaceX. But you know what? I think they should have another crowdfunding effort and raise some money, because I think they're doing God's work here, suing SpaceX for trampling over their pristine vacant lot. I think that's my favorite story of the week.
It's a good story.
Elon Musk denies romantic relationship with Giorgia Meloni after Italian Prime Minister calls him precious genius.
I did not have sex with that woman. Except that Elon, but never mind. I don't want to go down this road. No.
I think that's
McDonald's touchscreen kiosks were feared as job killers. Instead, you won't believe what happened next. What happened next, Jeff Jarvis?
They're still putting pickles in the burgers. It didn't involve jobs going down. Technology doesn't always do that.
I have to say, I have been in a McDonald's that had these kiosks, and there were literally 3 people working behind the counter. I mean, I don't know. Is that really the case that it didn't replace?
Well, you're in California.
No, this was in Rhode Island.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was visiting my mom, and I thought I got to have something to eat before I leave. And I went in there in the middle of nowhere, and it was jammed. And they had those big, they have those giant screens and French fries. You push a button, and but there was hardly anybody behind the counter. Where are people going to get their French fry skills if you can't?
So can you explain to me the Mullenweg versus WordPress WP Engine fight? Or do you don't care to?
I love Matt. I really do. He's of late been, I don't know, sometimes something happens to people when they become rich and famous. I don't know. I don't think he's wrong on this. Matt originally created WordPress as an open source project, founded a company that runs WordPress.com. The company's called Automatic with 2 T's.
By the way, it took me years before I got the joke.
Matt, get it?
Matt.
Automatic.
I didn't.
And we had Matt on a couple of years ago on the show.
Great conversation.
And he's a big supporter of open source.
Yep.
And I don't think he's really wrong. WordPress.com is the commercial arm. You can always download WordPress and run it on your own server. There is another company called WP Engine, which also provides a service similar to WordPress.com, kind of, hosted WordPress. He says the company has been profiteering without giving much back, disabling key features, and so forth. He actually started getting a little bit more aggressive, calling it a cancer. He said that WP Engine, WordPress Automatic contributed 3,900 hours a week, man hours a week, woman hours, coding hours a week to WordPress. WP Engine, 40 hours a week. He also said that may not be exactly right, but he said he also called GoDaddy a parasitic company and an existential threat to WordPress's future. So he criticized a number of people. It's become a little bit of a loose cannon. Anyway, WP Engine sued him or sent him a cease and desist, to which he responded with a lawsuit. So this is going to be kind of a little bit of a battle. He said the problem is they call themselves WP Engine, and it's confusing people that this is WordPress. But he did the same thing, WordPress.com, right? Mullenweg said, WP Engine is not WordPress. My own mother was confused and thought WP Engine was an official thing. Their branding, marketing, advertising, and entire promise to customers is that they're giving you WordPress, but they're not, and they're profiting off the confusion. A lot of companies, though, offer, one button install a WordPress and hosted WordPress and things like that. I'm not sure, including GoDaddy. Anyway, it seems like it's a little inside baseball.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. I love Matt. I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but sometimes, I understand. We were pissed off at Twitter because we thought, we were Twitter before Twitter existed. I tried to buy it. They didn't take my offer.
What a world that would have been. You as CEO of Twitter.
Twitter would have been much better.
Nice.
Just take a look at twit.social, our Mastodon instance, and what a nice, clean, happy-go-lucky place that is.
Wouldn't have made a penny, but it'd been great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It never made a penny anyway.
That's true, too.
Never actually made a penny anyway. So
right. They're just losing money like crazy, aren't they? Anything else that we should do before we wrap things up? You're watching This Week in Google. Paris Martineau, she is at theinformation.com. You should subscribe so you can.
One other funny one. I find it funny. Introducing HP Print AI, industry's first intelligent print experiences. As if, can it just turn on the printer and work? Can it just do that?
There's no money in that, Jeff.
Can they just make it so that I don't have to delete the printer and re-add it to my laptop every other time? Is that the AI? That's all I want.
Maybe they can. Wait a minute. We don't know yet. Maybe they can. Maybe this AI will solve all your printer woes. Maybe
this is the AI is going to say, Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not
AI is
compute.
going to say you have to pay for a toner subscription.
Yeah.
More like. We actually, it's funny. We have a very nice HP color laser printer that's very good. That's what we use at home. I'm not against
Jeff has a
HP.
brother. I have a Canon, as we've previously discussed.
Yes. Well, I have that brother as well.
You have a memory on you.
I have the brother that everyone has.
That was just a show title that I thought was cute, so I did remember it.
Oh, really? We had a show title.
It was Jeff's brother, Paris's Canon, or something like that. Yeah.
We are watching This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is also here. Former emeritus professor of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. We'll take a little break, and when we come back, let's do some picks. What do you say? Time for our picks of the week. I don't know what Paris's thing is. All I can see is it says the 90s executive yes man. What is that?
So when I was a kid growing up, my dad had this like little guy on his desk that we'd always kind of make fun of when he could turn on a button. It was called the Yes Man. Someone got it for him as a gift, as a gag gift. And basically the thing was, I think it was voice activated, where you were supposed to have it on your desk as an executive and you'd say some sort of idea. And then it would, in response, be like, that's a great idea. Or how do you do it? Or when you're right, you're right. And just all sorts of brown nosing things. And I don't know how, but this got woven into the psyche of my family. The actual yes man disappeared many a decade ago. But me and my family to this day will always be like, how do you do it? Or when you're right, you're right. When we were on our trip in Croatia, we got talking about this. I was a little drunk and I was like, I could find this on eBay. I found not one, but two. I sent one to my parents. I sent one to my home.
God.
And now it's here. Let me turn it on. I can see if I can get it. Hello.
I couldn't agree with you more completely.
Very loud.
What did it say? I agree with you more completely. Bad.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's loud. It's going to do it again probably shortly.
So it's random. You don't get to say.
I don't know.
I'm behind you all the way.
It will keep going, and it's really delightful. So that's my pick of the week, is this guy that I got.
Get it on eBay, because it's no longer, according to Rao Creations, which actually created this thing, no longer available anywhere. Well, Paris has something to say about that.
Sure,
that idea is a real beauty, Paris.
Thank you.
What more can I say? When you're right, you're right.
That's me.
What does Gizmo think of it?
No response.
There's something a little weird about this, though, because your father had this on his desk your whole childhood.
It was my whole childhood, but it made enough of an impression. It was definitely there for a bit. It's kind of a funny thing to have on your desk when it's not yelling at you. You can turn it off.
Is your father, based on the beginning of the show and the video, is your father someone who could be classified as a character?
Sounds like he is.
He's definitely a character.
Yeah.
I would classify my parents as characters, to say the least. Yeah.
Hey, you can get this for $44.99.
Jeez.
Oh, that's very expensive.
Yeah.
I think I got this for like $20.
Oh. Here's also the whipping boy.
Oh boy.
Not PC to use that phrase anymore, folks. So.
Also from John Rao in 1991. I'm surprised
doesn't work as is for parts.
For whipping boy parts. Boy, I'd say eBay is an amazing place.
It really is.
It really is.
So nothing you can't
think of something strange from your past and order it on eBay is my pick of the week.
I like it.
Yeah.
For me, what would it be? It would be a rock, maybe, with a face painted on it. How about that?
Did you have a pet rock back in the day?
I did not have a pet rock.
He didn't have many friends, he said before.
Even the rocks didn't like him.
Even the rocks.
They just
Jeff
roll
Jarvis,
away.
You seem like a very intelligent fella. What's your pick of the week?
Following Paris is hard. I'm boring now, so let's make this really quick. More Americans, especially young adults, are regularly getting news on TikTok.
I saw this from
4 in
Pew.
10
Yeah.
young adults in the U.S. now regularly get their news from TikTok. How we can ban this is beside me. It's useful in the election. It's being used by the candidates. I just don't get it.
We'll see. Once a year, I go and do a career day at a local high school. And when I asked everybody how they got their news, everybody said, I mean, the one thing most people said was TikTok. When I asked them, are you guys concerned about the TikTok ban? They were all like, no, I'll just use Reels or something else. They just didn't care at all, which I thought was interesting.
A nihilistic generation to your heart.
Yep.
Yeah,
according to Pew, the share of TikTok users who regularly get their news on the platform has doubled in the last 4 years. That's amazing.
It really is.
My daughter, though, says, I use TikTok for search. I said, you can't use it for search. She said, try me. I said, well, how tall is the Empire State Building? And she found it. You just search TikTok. You could find anything.
Well, did you have to listen to a 30-second video telling you that? Or
probably.
Yeah, but
I hate
that's
that.
life. Yeah. I hate that too.
Well, YouTube's far worse. How do I get this HP printer to work? I'm going to take 20 minutes to tell you how to turn a button.
Smash the subscribe.
Tap that bell.
Well, Jeff and Paris, it has been a great reunion. I had a wonderful lunch with you guys 2 weeks ago, and I'm glad to get back. This is the show I look forward to all week because you're so silly. And I hope we can do this all again next week. What do you say?
Yeah. I'll consider it.
All right. Wednesdays, we're here right after Windows Weekly, roughly 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us live. We stream everywhere. Yes, even X. I tried while I was gone. I told the team, I said, I don't want to be on X anymore. And they said, no, you have to be.
Yeah.
Do you either of you mind if we're on X?
No, I'm on X. I tweet.
You both post on X.
I post AI Inside on X.
Okay, I guess I was wrong. Anyway, we are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. We are on X. We are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. We are on Kick, and we are on Discord if you are a member of the club. Oh, if you're not a member of the club, my goodness gracious, I would sure appreciate it if you would join. It's only $7 a month. It really helps us on our bottom line. We need that revenue to keep Benito employed, frankly. So help us out. twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month. We do give you some benefits, ad-free versions of all the shows, access to the Discord, which is a great hang. You also get special events and so forth that are going on. In fact, Friday, we're going to do 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern in the club. Chris Marquardt's photo review. The assignment was hypnotic. He has some great photos that the people have submitted to our Flickr group. We'll do that as photo review, which we did for years on the radio show. We'll do it as a special on a Friday, and we will stream that live. But after the fact, you have to be a member of the club to see it. So if you're not a member, please join. We'd love to have you. twit.tv/clubtwit. After the fact, you can get this show on the website, twit.tv/twig. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to the video. You could subscribe to the audio or the video and get it automatically as soon as it's available. And that way you can listen at your leisure. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff. Have a great cacio e pepe tonight.
One last surprise look for the road.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google.